there's many ways to think about substance use problems. One is an interesting study that was done like in the end of the 90s, early 2000s, where they asked someone, have you used this substance in the last year? And then they asked if you'd used it in a dependent fashion. Now, what do we mean by dependent fashion? It means you've lost control, it's causing other problems for yourself, you have urges to use and you can't stop it, life gets chaotic. Those are sorts of lines that we have, and there's a definition of that. But what was interesting in this study where they looked at those aspects of dependence is that different drugs have different risks of your use ever being part of problem. If you smoked a cigarette last year, you have somewhere around a 95% chance that you are dependent on cigarettes. That's super high. If you used crystal meth or heroin last year, you probably have about a 40% chance of having problematic use. That means 60% of people just use heroin every now and then. Well, no one thinks of heroin that way, and certainly people don't talk about crystal meth that way. But it turns out that people can use in ways that don't cause huge problems. On the other hand, it is one of the highest numbers, 40%. Alcohol, it's 10%. So, if you start drinking and you have about a 10% chance that you might end up with a problem with it. If you start using crystal, you have 4 times that. You have about a 40% chance of maybe ending up with a problem. Who that is, how we predict that, that's a very difficult question that we don't really know. On the other hand, you're using a drug where some people do use it well. And I think we have to keep that in mind when we're thinking about prevention, when we're thinking about talking to people about their substance use, and not be too panicked.
I think it is possible for men or guys to have a healthier relationship with P&P, but that depends on the individual's experience, the individual's history. If an individual is self-aware, if they understand safety, if they live in a safe environment, and they have a real, tangible, observed sense of control or boundaries or awareness in their usage, that isn't to suggest that I can't have some control over it, right? I know and support people who are able to say, I recognize this can be a problem. My way of dealing with this is the usage, like a defined usage, 1 weekend, a month, right? So that there is control around that. There is a sense of observed manageability, and that works for the individual.